This is a video of our land. We're right now driving down the length of the highway frontage. This side of the property is deciduous trees, cedar, river birch, wild honeysuckle, and many other varieties. On the other half of the land are planted red pine, white pines. We have oaks planted, crab apples. The entire land is forested, and right now we have about 20 roads running through it, which we're going to take you on and show you what this place looks like. Unfortunately, it just started raining. We're going to continue recording, hoping to be able to show this in this place. This is still our land. As you can hear, we have signs that say no trespassing. We're not required by law here to have that, but we felt it would help people to know that these are not public lands. Along one entire side runs this creek, which we're now just passing, and we're going to turn around and enter on a road that we have to go on to the property. Okay, here we go. From the center of this creek to that tree line back where we came from, down the road here, is our land. We have highway on one entire side, a creek on one entire other side, a river on one entire side, and the side that butts up to neighbors is planted with a pine tree line, which is mature. This land is private. We've personally owned it since 1984. It's 94 acres. There's 3 islands with 15 acres. We're going to take you to the area that is a building site. It's permitted in. We have a septic system already in place, sewage. It's never been, of course, used. We didn't build. This area has riprap and perked for water. We actually have spring water on this property. We're going to go to the left, past structure that was an old barn that collapsed. This barn was here back when this land was the stagecoach crossing back in the 1800s. There's an old shed here. Somewhat disrepair. And as you can see, it's all forested. There's a deep forest between the highway and the building site, which has no visual view of the building site. This building site overlooks the creek. Absolutely gorgeous views. A couple of sugar maples along here. As you can see, it's been rip-wrapped, so you don't lose any height to the ground. And coming up on an opening here that overlooks the creek. And I will get out of the vehicle to show you this. Here's your creek area. This runs back up in this direction. It's like maybe 2 blocks to the highway. You go in this direction, and this is what they call a slough that goes a little bit inland into your more mature forest. I'm going to take you around to the other side. We have about 20 roads on this property. These have been maintained for the last 25 years as this forest has grown up. We personally planted 16,000 pine trees. And then, of course, nature took care of the rest. The land across from us on this creek is unbuildable. It's lower than our land, and it's in what they consider a floodplain. Part of our land is in what you consider a floodplain and a floodway. We had a survey done of the land that shows the heights and all the information you would need for any kind of building. And of course, the area we just went past. If you'll stop a second, I'll show you behind me. This is the area that's already been permitted for a building site. And you can see the pipes coming up. That's for water and sewage. We're going to take you on a different road now. Oak trees, like a field of oak. Here's the shed area from the other side. There's kind of a hilly dip area here. We're going to go down another road here. All these roads have been maintained while allowing the forest to grow up on this land, which used to be farmed years ago. Many years ago now. You can see it's raining. This is the side with the slough, and on this side is a forest that reaches to the middle part of the land. It's called the slough, and it's between the mainland and our islands and the main part of the river. We have 3 islands with this property. The slough is the water area between the mainland and the islands. I'm not sure I said that correctly earlier. We're now in a part that's actually across from the building site, and I'm going to get out of the car here and show this to you. This here is the creek. That's all our land. Our land is from the center of the creek out to the middle of the river. This over here is your building site across the way. And over in that direction is the highway where we came from. As you probably can detect, I am not a professional photographer, but I'm going to do my best to show this. We're going to get back in the vehicle here, and we're going to drive along the creek on a different road. And here we go. One of the roads we just came up. Get my arm back in the vehicle. On our left is the creek. On our right is the crabapple orchard. Kind of see some of the orange leaves. They pretty much lost their leaves already. I'm going to get out of the car here before we go down this next road and show you what you're across from. This would be our creek area. Beautiful. In a drier season, this would be all dry. And to our right is a slough area between our islands and the river. And that part of the land is just literally pure sand. It's amazing to walk on. A lot of river birch along here. In this area, typically we would have a path that goes through to some beaches. But right now, as you can see, it's high water, so you kind of get the reflection of the water out there. I'm going to get back in the vehicle and we're going to go back down the road this way. Okay. We've been here since 1994. We've actually not allowed hunting on here. This is pretty pristine. Lots of beautiful birds. Eagles, cranes, hawks, bluebirds, cardinals, chelated woodpeckers. I could go on. Shall we go to the right through the forest, or should we circle around by the river? This is the slough part of the river. We're just going to do a little circle here. This is another way that we cut a path through. And I'm going to show you the slough part of the river. If my driver will stop. Walking backwards here towards it. As you can see today, we're in the beginning of fall, and the water's somewhat high. This runs the full length of the property. These are our islands out here. There are 3 sets. Tell you something later. And now we're going to continue around and take a different road. In this area here are sugar maples. So if you wanted to tap and collect your own maple, that's where you would do that. Pretty unique. Okay, we're going to stop again. We're on a different road. This is an area that you could put a pier in. We never put one in, but by law you're allowed to put an area in where you can launch boats from. And this being a little bit closer towards the water seemed like a good location to do something like that. And as you can see, all of this is our land. It's absolutely stunning to go in a little canoe or a kayak in and out of the islands here, and the trees and the water. You have birds flying over. It's just heaven. Absolutely heaven. And it goes all the way down to the center of the creek. And once again, on the other side of the islands here is another set of islands. And beyond that is the main river. And your land is to the middle of the river. So I'm going back to the vehicle to continue and show you more roads. This area here is just really thick with woods. This is a part of the country where we get deer, and we also get white deer, which are only in certain areas of the world. And we'll pause here. Where I'm getting out here is an area that we typically have eagles sitting in these big trees here. And in the fall, late fall, we have golden eagle that come through. This is an area where I can show you the split in the land that takes you through to the next set of islands. So here's one large island this way, another large one this way. And you see the sandbar across the way here? It's just literally pure sand to walk across, and in the summertime it's fabulous. Okay. It's breaking my heart to sell it. We're going to continue on. All right. And it's just solid woods except for paths and roads, and today we're showing you roads. This is a road that we didn't trim yet, so I won't be going down that one right now, but we'll go down the other ones. So it's water entirely on our left and forest on our right. This part of our forest is deciduous trees that have come up since we bought the land and they quit farming. And those trees include things like cedar, river birch. Right now we're headed to the furthest point of the land. And this is where we started from the highway. And we're showing you the tree line. This is a pine tree line thick that we planted to divide our land from the neighbors. And these neighbors are the only ones that would be able to build on their land, and actually near the highway only. So we're circling around here, and this is more of the water, and I'll get out and show you. I've gone to rent places around the country, and they always promise these magnificent views and water views and mountains, and they're not exactly straightforward about it. So this is the northern end of the property line over there where the trees run to, and straight across this waterway to the main river beyond the islands. The center of that river is the end of your land. So your land just goes all the way down from where we just came from. We put up signs, even though in Wisconsin you are not required to have signs. We thought it would be polite to let people know that this is private property, and not to have to be concerned about walking on it with children, or yourselves for that matter. Getting back in the car, we're now going to go down a different road. This is a place you can hunt, you can fish, you can ice fish. In the winter, you can snowmobile, you can cross-country ski. In the summer, kayak, canoe, boat, raft, swim. 4x4s. We're now on a different road. This is a road through like the middle of the forest that came up because planting quit happening. So on both sides of the road, you would see pine trees, cedar pines, river birch, wild honeysuckle, and other varieties. And right now they're getting to be pretty much up there. With 20 roads and I don't even know how many paths. This is probably the biggest private retreat in this part of the state. I'm not advertising this where anybody knows where it's at, so that it would remain private. So the people that will show an interest in this land will be able to prove, make an offer, show that they have the kind of funds to back it up before I will give location out, so as to prevent it from becoming something that the public would all want to flock to. I want to keep it as wonderfully private as it's been for us. This is a tree line that's planted at a high point, so that beyond here, going forward a distance, is the highway, but you can be out here doing whatever you want. Nobody can see you, nobody can hear you. Oop, little bit of a bump. We have some seriously big anthills. Woo! So happy I didn't lose my phone. Continuing along. Shall we cut through the road, through the middle of the forest up ahead before you go up this road? Okay. Did we go down that one yet? No. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go through the center forest one and then come up through. You'll lead me. Okay, this is the road we already came on in the beginning, coming onto the land from past the shed. We're going back this way because we have another road that cuts through the middle of this forest that's on our right. If you were out for a hike, you would really appreciate the fact that there's these other ways in and out of here. Otherwise, you'd be having to circle the entire forest, as you can see, based on the density, to even find your way out of here. So, what's really cool is you could sit and wait for deers to just walk past you because they tend to like to use the paths. A little bumpier here. Might want to use your off-road vehicles. And definitely watch for anthills. They're definitely anything like an ant. They're really big. Shall we go through the other roads next to the crabapple orchard? Okay. We're back on a road that came next to the creek because we skipped a road to take you on this last road. So now we're going to go up here, and where we came from across from the rock formation is up ahead, but we're going to turn left at a little juncture here on a different road. And that would be right here to the left, This is where we came from. That was across from the rock formation next to the creek. And this is the crabapple orchard. As you can see, some of the fall colors. I'm in a little bit of a short vehicle. You'll think. So, a little harder to see. Watching for ticks. Okay. And stop a second. This is another road that we're not going to go on right now, but this goes back towards the creek on the other side of the building site. We actually took a road that's right over here to your right that goes to the same area. Right now we're going to turn back on a different road that cuts into the forest right here. We used to walk this when we were kids. Still do. Not today, not in the rain. And then go past the Eagle Tree to the main road because we haven't taken that yet. So now we just got back on a road that we were on previously. They all kind of crisscross each other, which is nice. I actually wanted to name them with my grandkids, but never got around to that. But if you'd be interested in suggestions, I'm available. This is our palette. This entire property between us, really him. This entire system was laid out, maintained, cut, and kept in the manner that you see it, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. So now we're headed back past the place you could put in a pier, the place that's the split between the islands, that shows you the two divided, and we're going to go back to the main road and then up another road past the barn, and we're going to end up leaving the property where I'll stop recording because I'm going to take you across the river to where there's a public boat landing to show you where that is and to allow you to see the other side of the islands you can't possibly see from here without being in a boat. Okay, now we're going to take a road to the right that we have not been on. And this is one of our main roads where if you came off the highway and you just drove on the outside of the area that has the barn, you would end up coming to your right to go on this road towards the river. And as you can see, it's the young forest on the right. I'll get my driver to slow down here. Stop. Thank you. As you can see, these are the younger pine trees that came up from the earth itself. And this is the forest that was planted, the 16,000 pine trees, which are now pretty mature. Okay. Summertime, if you have any young children and you come down to this place and you go to the slough part by the islands, and it's all sand beach and the water is low and they can catch frogs and turtles, and it's just the most amazing experience for young people and old. This is the road that goes up towards the barn that we have not been on, the old barn area. This was the land, the original crossing for the creek was onto this property and used by stagecoaches. Long time ago. So here we go. And now we're going to end up leaving the property to take you across from where we're at to show you the public boat landing that's available. Hmm.